Are you ready for the 12 obstacles you are more than likely going to face? Let's get to them. Number one, you didn't meal prep. Let's be honest, there's just going to be times you don't meal prep. Maybe you didn't have time to go to the grocery store. Maybe you didn't have time to cut up the veggies or marinate the meat or soak whatever you needed to soak. Those things are going to happen. So when you are faced with that, the best way to get around that is to stick to meat and veggies. Use avocado oil. That's what I use. It's the best for your heart and it works on everything. So use avocado oil as your fat. Make your meat, make your veggies, whatever you have handy. Even if you're using frozen vegetables, that's okay. Just don't buy the vegetables with the sauce in it. Just buy plain vegetables. Just throw some avocado oil in a pan and some garlic in there, maybe some tamari sauce, and it's going to be delicious. And it's so fast and so easy. Whatever meat you have, just cook it real quick and you've got a meal. Don't worry. Don't panic. And whatever you do, don't go through a drive-through because you don't need to do that. You can have your meal made with food that you have on hand and readily available faster than you can get in the car and go get food and come back and eat it. You will be good to go by just sticking to meat, veggies, and avocado oil. All right, so you ready for number two? Hunger. When we get hungry, everything looks good, right? You don't ever go to the grocery store hungry. Remember that rule? Well, you don't want to get stuck where you're overly hungry. So keep some boiled eggs in your refrigerator. Just eat a boiled egg if you need to. Have your snacks ready. The snacks that we recommend are celery, pickles, olives, cucumbers, and radishes. Have those ready. You can have those. Keep that hunger down to a minimum so that way you don't just grab what's convenient or grab what's known. You want to be able to eat your keto meals when it's time to eat them, and you don't want to get yourself so hungry that you go off plan. Another one, no time for lunch. Oh, how many of us do that? How many of us skip a meal that we weren't prepared to skip? So, when you have lunch, when you need to eat lunch, make sure that as you're making your meal, you're setting aside a small portion, put it in the freezer. That way, those days where you don't have time to cook lunch or it's time and you just don't have time to eat it, you just can zap it really quick, eat it up, and be on your way. But when you skip meals that you didn't purposely intend to skip, then you will end up having a problem because you will get yourself so hungry that you will eat anything. So don't do that. Be prepared for, you know, when you're not going to have time for lunch, right? So just take a little container out of your freezer and take it with you. Zap it, and you have a meal to eat, and where you won't get so hungry and you won't have to worry about going through a drive-through. Gatherings. Oh my gosh. How many of us go to gatherings? It could be a family event, a work event, it doesn't matter. And you see all this amazing food. Okay, so if you know you're going to a gathering where there's going to be lots and lots of food choices, make sure that you are taking some foods that you can eat. So that way you can pick and choose. You're not just reliant on whatever is being made there. Make sure you are prepared ahead of time so that way you have good choices to eat. And that's all you really need to do. And sometimes you will choose to have some of that other food, but it's a choice. It's not a requirement. It's not a demand. It's a choice. It's a conscious choice you will make. So as long as you are taking some foods that you know you thoroughly enjoy, even make something special for yourself that you haven't had forever. And you're like, oh, that sounds so good. Go ahead and make that and take that because you'll look forward to eating your own food. You may pick some other foods, but at least that will be your choice. And that's what it always needs to come down to. It's your choice, not because that's the only thing available and the best choice that you could make. Take your food so that way you have your choices available. Another problem. Ugh. On the road, you're in the car and you're on the road and you have to stop at a gas station because you're hungry or you're looking for a drive-through restaurant to find something that'll work for you. Be prepared for that. Be ready for that. Know the routes you're going to take and know where you can stop or take your food with you. Make you up a keto sandwich or take your snacks with you, but be prepared for that. So if you're prepared for it, you're not going to make the mistake of going into a gas station and finding anything that looks delicious because we don't want to do that. You don't want to go through a drive-through. So when you're on the road, when you're traveling, make sure you're ready. Take a little cooler with you and be prepared. So that way that won't stop you. Remember, if you're going to cheat and you're going to have a meal that you know isn't keto, make sure it's something you really want, not something just because it's convenient. Make sure it's something you really want, you plan for, you prepared for, you're going to savor every bite of it. When you just make a quick stop, that's not going to do it for you. So make sure you're prepared. Take a cooler with you and you're good to go. Work parties. Oh my gosh. How many times have we stood there and looked at this table full of food and went, oh, where do I start? Now you're going to say, where do I stop? Okay, so you need to be prepared for that. Some of them are spontaneous, and we know that. Some of them are planned. The spontaneous ones, you always want to make sure you have a snack available to you so you can overcome that. I don't care if you took celery to work and you leave it there in a cooler or in a refrigerator. Just go grab that celery and start munch, 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 munch. That will help you. If it was a prepared party, then make sure you are taking something that you can enjoy. Even if it's a keto sweet, I know I've talked about that, but even if it's a keto sweet, it's okay. It's way better than the alternative. So you just need to be prepared. And when you're prepared, you're going to succeed. And that's all that counts, is if you succeed. However you have to do it, just figure out a way to succeed. Take your snacks. Keep your snacks handy. Take your own keto treat if you need to, but be ready for it. So that way you're not grabbing the wrong stuff, and yet you're still enjoying it, and you're still enjoying the camaraderie of the party, and you're having a good time, and you are eating food that's not going to set you back. Bored. Oh my gosh. How many of us eat when we're bored, right? Let's be honest. Okay, so there is a trick to that. Find something new to do. Find something that entertains you. It can just be playing a new game on your phone. It can be learning to crochet, learning to quilt, learning to needlepoint, learning puzzles, doing puzzles, learning to diamond paint. It doesn't matter what it is, but we have to figure out how to deal with boredom. Because let's be honest, when you're done eating, you're still bored, right? That didn't solve the problem. So make sure you have something readily available that you can do when you're bored. And even if you're tired and you're sitting there watching TV and you're bored, just pick up the needlepoint, pick up the book, pick up your phone and start playing a game. Do something to relieve the boredom, because eating isn't going to do it. You're going to get done eating and then you're still going to be bored. So we need to deal with the cause of the problem, which is boredom, versus dealing with the problem that's going to remain a problem, which is eating. So we don't want to do that. If there's something you've always wanted to do, then get yourself the materials that you need to learn to do that. And so when you're bored, you can just sit and do that instead. And then when you're all satisfied, you can set it aside again. That's fine. And then use it the next time you get bored. And that's okay too. But boredom is going to get you. It's going to happen. We all know it. We all eat when we're bored. So we need to find something better to do than to eat through our boredom. Another obstacle we're going to face is we're going to say, oh, I'm just too busy. I'm just too busy. I can't do this now. I'm too busy. Okay. So I get that. I really do. But we have to eat, right? We eat anyway. It doesn't matter. Even if we're busy, we still eat. So we need to be prepared for that. You need to have some meals made for you that you have made, you have set aside, and you put them in the freezer. So when you are too busy, all you got to do is pull them out and heat them up, and you're ready to go. We do have to eat, even when we're busy. So just make sure that you are prepared for the times that you're just simply too busy to cook a whole meal. Have some leftovers put in the freezer, and that way when you're too busy, you can just pull them out and eat those, and you're good to go. Another obstacle you may face if you're doing it on your own is not having your macros counted or counted correctly. You really do. If you're doing this on your own, you need to count your macros. So if you don't have a meal plan that you're following, then you need to download one of those macro calculators. There's plenty of them that are for free. Make sure you get one, because when you are figuring out your meals, you need to know your macros, and that is going to absolutely affect how well you succeed at keto. So know your macros. Get yourself one of those carb counter apps. Yeah, they're sometimes a pain, but it's still better than trying to do keto and not doing it correctly, because that will be an obstacle that you are going to hit. So have a macro counter handy and be ready for that. Something that is inevitable that's going to happen is you are going to hit a weight loss stall. You're going to be losing. You'll be like, yeah. And then all of a sudden a week goes by, you didn't lose. 2 weeks go by, you didn't lose. And let me tell you, that is frustrating and that is discouraging. And that can actually cause you to quit. You'll be like, nope, I give up. See, I'm done. I can't lose any more weight. And then we go right back to past patterns. That is a big mistake. You don't want to do that. So the first thing that's going to happen when you are in a weight loss stall, check the ingredients of the food you use. Just because someone says it's keto doesn't make it keto. It really, truly doesn't. And so check the ingredients, because a lot of times things that say keto have wheat flours in them, sugar substitutes in them, all kinds of things that we don't eat on keto, rice in them, rice flour in them. So check your ingredients. That may be what's going on. If that's not it, then cut out nut flour, sugar substitutes, and dairy, and that will pop you out of that stall. Or just go for a fast for a day or two and make sure you get some vigorous exercise in. But what you don't want to do is get discouraged because you're in a weight loss stall. It is not something you can't get past. You just have to figure it out. So first of all, check your ingredients and cut out those things I just said, and just fast. Those are all things that you can do, but don't get discouraged. You are going to hit it, so just figure out what's wrong. Scales. Oh my gosh. They will absolutely lie to you. I swear they're going to lie to you. If you stepped on the scale right now, right as you're watching this, and an hour from now, they're probably going to be different. It's going to happen. Scales lie. I swear they do. The best way to know your progress is how you're feeling and how your clothes fit. Because when you step on that scale and it doesn't tell you something that you want to know, you will get discouraged. You will get frustrated. And then that can cause you to quit. And whatever you do, you don't want to do that, because that's not going to get you anywhere. So try to stay off the scales, but if you do step on them, remember, they don't tell the whole story. So look for the whole picture, because the progress you're making is amazing. Don't quit now. You're too close to succeeding to quit.